It's K Mac.
Ooh, with it blue. It's K Mac. What the fuck? Welcome back to the spodiest page of the YouTube universe. K Mac, TMI 3438. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification, thumbs up, like, comment, and share on all videos. Make sure you follow me on all platforms. That way you can contact me, DM me, send me videos to react to. Now that we got the hard part out the way, let's get to today's video. It's K Mac. What the fuck? Yeah, man. So today, we got something different. So, like I said, this content ain't easy to keep up with, you know, and I see a lot of people, you know, piggybacking off of different other people content and all that. I try not to do that, you know, unless it's something that's kind of interesting to me. So I seen this first video and I thought it was interesting just watching it, you know, and then I seen, so basically the first video I seen was Kev Mac doing the video is the Gangsta's Neighborhood Lovers. And then I seen Young NH.I.P covered as well. So when Kev Mac did the segment, he talked about how the Gangsters was cool with the 30s and the East Coast, you know, had a real tight knit with them. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people feel like they neighborhood Crip lovers, although the Harlem 30s is not neighborhood Crips, but they do have a tight knit with all the other neighborhood Crips, you know. So my first time ever really paying attention to even the Harlem Crips and the East Coast, you know, connection was listening to the Knots, Niggas Off the Streets CD, man. Lil Kiki Loco, and I can't remember all the other guys' name, but that's the name that always stuck out to me. But I remember listening to that CD, man, and that was my first time understanding, like, okay, the East Side and the West Side, you feel me? They coexist with each other and get it rolling, roller coaster, you know. And then so my family come up off the East Side, and I lived on the East Side before I actually moved to the 40s, although I went to kindergarten, you feel me, in the 40s, you feel me? So, but I'm saying that to say this, I got family from Coast, and I remember I was around 13, 14, and I was sliding with one of my older cousins from Coast, who I won't name, and he about a year, or I want to say almost 2 years older than me. And man, he was already driving, sliding, making plays, doing the shit. And I go to the East Side to fuck with him one time, and we driving and we pull up in, I believe, Hood, and that was my first time noticing that the Trays and the East Coast, you know, really coexist and really fuck with each other tough, man, you know. So that was my first look at it. And then later down the line, some years later out here in Las Vegas, I met a homie from East Coast named E-Fly. I want to say Tiny E-Fly, and I believe E-Fly he was definitely out the 6-pack. I want to say, man, I'm not even gonna say which one, but one of the 6-packs, you feel me? And my homie E-Fly, man, he was a real neighborhood, real loc, man. Eritrean, you know, the same ethnicity as Nipsey Hussle, you know, so he always reminded the nigga of that, you know, real neighborhood Nip type crippin', you know. So the homie E-Fly, he had a major love for the Gangsters, man, to the fact that he's like, K Mac, man, I love the 40s, man. Y'all my homies, man. Y'all my niggas. But don't call my homies from Trays ramps. Don't call my homies from Trays ramps. And he was serious about it. And if you know E-Fly, Cuz is the type, cuz a fade with you, he'll shoot it out with you, you know, and that's a part of his demise, you feel me? Neighborhood in peace, my nigga E-Fly, you know, but cuz was just, he was real adamant on that, was like, cuz, you feel me? Just don't call my niggas rounds, man, and we spotty, cuz I love y'all niggas, man, you know? So that lets you know how much love it is for the faux trays and the East Coast Crips, you know, to where East Coast Crip would tell another neighborhood Crip, man, I get down for my faux tray gangsters, man, just so you don't use that word towards my homies, you know. And I thought that was big. Now, another thing I want to point out on the east side, A7 gangsters, 9-7 gangsters, they also coexist with the neighborhood Crips. So as a youngster, a real youngster, I knew about the 9-7 gangsters because I got family through marriage over there. My older folks, Killer Kev, Bam, Lowdown, you know, those are all my peoples, man. Real older 9-7 gangsters, first generation. And then I got older homies from A7 gangsters that I actually met in Merced, California. You feel me? The big homie, Big C-Dog, Lil C-Dog, Big Tweet, Lil Tweet, then my big bros, you know. And it was crazy because I pull up to my hood day in, I want to say 01 or 02, and who I see over there with the older homies, the big homie Big C-Dog, man. And that was kind of crazy. He was just as surprised to see me. I was surprised to see him, like, man, you know, see him over there with the older homie. So that's another interaction of the gangsters from the east side fucking with neighborhood Crips. You know, so I would say it's definitely a lot of love there between the faux tray gangsters and neighborhood Crips on the east side and the west side. You feel me? Even with the gangsters from the east side and some neighborhood Crips from the west side, man. And then, as y'all see me always reference Northern California, because I lived up there for quite a while, and me being from LA, noticing that once you pass pretty much Bakersfield and up, everything is almost gangsta Crip, you know. A lot of gangs is all gangsta Crip or based off of gangsta Crips. There's only a few neighborhood Crips, you feel me, and pretty much like Fresno, Stockton, and Merced with the CNs that I started, you feel me. Although they are not 40s, they are a faction that came up under the neighborhood 40s, which is in a gangster town, you feel me. The Merced Gangsta Crips is the most notable gang in Merced, but neighborhood CNs also exist in Merced, California, whether y'all like it or not. And I'm the reason why they throw up ends in Northern Cali. But straight up. So I just wanted to touch on that real fast. And oh, and the last shit I did want to say, so I do believe that some of the other gangsters, like the Avalons and the A-Tray gangsters, do have a problem with the faux tray gangsters being cool with rolling Crips and neighborhood Crips, you know. I've seen videos where A-Tray gangsters have called faux tray gangsters traitors and said, if you got beef with Avalon, you got beef with them, man. I don't know if that's a whole gang thing or if that's just how that one individual felt when he was kicking it with his homies from Avalon. But I said enough on this video. Just wanted to touch on it and speak on it myself, and and say that, yeah, man, it's much love to the Trey gangsters, man, all down Vernon. You already know, man, from Crenshaw to Fig, all the way to the other side, you know. So, to the next video, it's K Mac. What the fuck?
Beef. A-Trey, the East Coasters didn't take any umbrage or take disrespect to the A-Trey gangsters, saying that they were neighborhood killers, because the East Coast knew that the A-Trays was on the west side and all their enemies, everybody they beef with, was on the west side. What a lot of people don't understand and know is, from my understanding again, and I'm pretty sure, I don't want to hear nobody who ain't from these hoods I'm talking, hopping out there talking, if I say anything that's wrong. But I think it's safe for me to say that when the East Coast and Hoover start beefing with each other, that's what soured the A-Trey gangsters and Hoover's relationship, because the A-Trays was told to stay out of that beef, to where any other beef they aided and assisted the Hoovers. They was told to stay out of that beef because of Big Sidewinder, people like Big Spike, G Homies, who had family ties and brothers from East Coast. So from there, I think that's when that thought probably kind of sprouted, where the Hoovers was just like, look, we everybody killer, you know what I'm saying, most hated, and we about to turn criminals. But however, I'm gonna go ahead and play this segment from Kev Mac, and I'm gonna get back into what I was speaking on. You already know it's the halfway and the half effect. You're gonna commentate.
In my experience, the Trey gangsters are real cool with the Harlem Crips on the west side, and the East Coast Crips on the east side. So they have the 430 East Coast thing going. The Rolling 60s and the Harlems are really tight. The Harlems are almost like, can be seen as the Godfathers. So the 60s and the 30s always had this tight relationship before there was a Rolling 60s. And so when they formed, we always was tight. And from my understanding, from what Russell Capers, rest in peace, Talib, had told me, is that he added the Rolling to the 30 Harlems to, to signify them being down with and them, having a love for the Rolling 60s. So you got the 30-60 thing going on as well. And, on the west side, the 30s to the 100s are the Rollers, but not necessarily the neighborhoods. And then you had the neighborhoods from the 40s to the 100s. And so that's the west side neighborhood car right there, and the west side rolling car right there. Then you got sets like the Raymonds that's down with us, but are not neighborhoods, and they're not gangsters, obviously. And they're not Rollins, depending on who you talk to, they never associated with the Rollins, but always down with us. We always been down with them, right? Within the neighborhood car, there's always been conflict. That's just something that happens. And because it's too many different sets, and they get out and venture on their own, and different things happen, or you just don't see eye to eye with other communities at some point. But it usually comes back together because we're all family. Now on the east side, the East Coast really come from the Raymond Washington branch, so those are really like the original East Side Crips. Ain't no doubt about it, no way to spin that. East Coast are always looked at as the East Side Crips. Trey gangsters are one of the original East Side sets with a street and all that, and a direct descendant of Raymond Washington's crew. And so the Trey East Coast friendship has always been A1, and it goes back to the beginning, Trey East Side, right? So they always been cool. They always had a relation that's been a lot of other East Side sets that claim gangster. And however they run their car, they run their set is that's them. I can't speak to that. But from the West Side neighborhood perspective, we don't look at everybody as gangsters like that. Yeah, they part of the gangster car, but we don't look at them like that. The 4-tray gangsters and the 8-tray gangsters stand out to us. Those are the gangsters, because that's who you're going to get into it with. That's who you're going to have to beef with, but that's also who you always end up having an understanding with. Because that's the rival. That's who you're going to run into. So you're going to either beef and get out, or y'all going to have an understanding. Now, the other gangsters, you got 8-7 gangsters, 9-7 gangsters, and so on that don't get along with Hoover. 4-tray gangsters, I'm not going to speak to that, but I know the 4-trays was into it with some Hoovers, probably more so the 5 Deuce Hoovers. But in the 90s, in the new Crip module, which was the last module in the county jail, you are aligned by the Hoovers and gangsters and neighborhoods. So anybody that got along with Hoover is gonna be on the road with the Hoovers. Anybody got along with neighborhood, gonna be on the road with the neighborhood. So 4-trays did fall on the tier with the neighborhoods, but it's because of their close alliance, close relationship with the East Coast Crips. Same with the 8-7s and 9-7s. And the gear gangs. So West LA, Watts, Compton, 8-tray gang, a lot of them dudes, they all on the same tier. On the neighborhood side, it's basically gonna be all neighborhood, whether you east side or west side.
All right, so that right there, y'all heard it for y'all own ears. Y'all seen it with y'all own eyes from what Kev Mac had to speak. So back to what I was saying. So, at one point in time, my elder homies and the Hoover elder homies, were tight knit when us in the 60s started beefing. And every beef they had, we aided and assisted them, vice versa. When they started beefing with the coasts, our homies was told to stay up out of that beef, and I soured our relationship with the Hoovers. From then, they was on their independent thing, doing their criminal thing. Now, are the East Coast neighborhood lovers. So, this what I like to point out to my homies and tell my homies this, because when my homies get mad, you and have my homies that have been guilty of spreading that and saying that, and I've corrected my homies at times because they have valid reasons to feel how they feel as well, right? For one, we dealt with them on some Trey and Gangsta thing. Our relationship strengthened with the Avalons, kind of weakened with them. Then the Avalons and 30 beef started. 4-trays had a relationship with the 30s as well. Although the Avalons was beefing with the 30s, didn't get in that beef. That had nothing to do with us. We were cool with the Harlems as well. I remember at one point in time, it was a gang of Harlems that stayed over here in the 8-trays, and we was welcome down there in the Harlems. I used to be on 39th and Dinker a lot right there in them duplexes, walking past, you feel me, King Park, all that, on 39th, 38th and Western, you feel me, if you know, you know. So it wasn't no problem with them rolling 30s, Harlems, or whatever, even though at this time, when they had the little hot streak and beef going on with the 40s. I think that the people who say that the 4-trays is neighborhood lovers drive from jail experiences. So in that county jail, you be in that county jail, right? And just like Kev Mac explained to y'all, being that the 4-tray gangsters don't mess with the Hoovers or beef with certain gangs, they're not going to be housed with them gangs. And being that they have a tight-knit relationship with the East Coasters, that's more than likely who they're going to be housed with and around. And being that in jail, the East Coast fall up under that neighborhood card, the neighborhoods are more tight knit than the gangsters from east to west side. That's one thing I can say. The neighborhoods are on one accords and an alliance, to where the gangsters are not an alliance. You know what I'm saying? The gangsters are not on one accord. You will have some gangster sets with the neighborhoods, and that's when you will have the gangsters like, oh, they neighborhood lovers, because you know the neighborhoods, you ain't gonna see no neighborhood sets that's what the gangsters. That's just unheard of. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of this come from the beef that the gangsters have with the Hoovers. So it's well known that a lot of gangster sets don't get along with the Hoovers. The Hoovers push CK, BK, GK, you know what I'm saying? NK, OK, push everything K. So at one point in time, when the 8 Trays was cool with the Hoovers, and the Hoovers was getting into it with these other gangster sets and writing GK and hitting GK up, the 8 Tray gangsters didn't aid and assist these other sets or back these sets up, because the 8 Tray gangsters were cool with the Hoovers. But being that relations that they had, I just feel like the 8 Tray gangsters should have had hollered at the Hoovers or had them stick to the script of, we just beef with this hood of these gangsters, rather than them just GK and we feeling like the gangsters selling out because they going over there with the neighborhoods. But as well as they can look at us like, shit, y'all selling out. We gangsters. Y'all cool with the Hoovers. You know what I'm saying? Then on top of that, what a lot of people don't understand, being that at whatever time the wars ceased between the 8 Tray gangsters and the Inglewood families and the 8 Tray gangsters and the 6 Deuce Brims, that's another thing. You have these Crip sets looking at that like, oh, well, hold on. Y'all trying to get on us, talking about we neighborhood lovers and this and that, but we messing with Keyways, we messing with Crips. Y'all cool with Bloods. Y'all got a Suwoo, grooving, and moving thing going on. And a lot of them look at that as a black eye. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that I was explaining to my homies, and these things are senseful, because it's like, if you expect the gangsters to be on one accord, you have to lead by example, and the gangsters have to be on one accord. Whoever the gangsters into it with, the gangsters into it with. Whoever the neighborhoods with, into it with, the neighborhoods into it with. But like I said, the neighborhoods, that's the fashion that they move in. To where us, the 8 Tray gangsters, we took it like, I guess our older homies probably felt like the Hoovers was, right next door to us, back then. And, we felt, you know what I'm saying, like we are the gangsters, the original gangsters, because the 4 Tray, they just had the street. They had the street 43rd before we had the street 83rd. So they was 43rd, they was 43rd. We was OGC, original gangster Crip. So, by us being that and having that title and feeling like we top rank, we the original gangsters, of course, like that, they have say so or move with what's the say so with the gangsters. And with that, you're going to have bucking, because you're going to have people that's going to be looking like, hold on, bro, I beef for Bloods. A lot of these East Side gangsters sets beef for Bloods. So it's like, they like, how can we merge with y'all and talking about we gangsters? And y'all got this going on, we beef with the Bloods and we beef with the Hoovers. So I just think like amongst the emotion and the hatred and the frustration of things going on, that title get through out there. But all in all, really, like, we got to call a ball and a strike a strike. They not neighborhood lovers. But the only thing that confused me was like, I don't think the East Coasters use that ramp word. My only thing will be like, well, when y'all is hanging with the Coasters and they got other neighborhoods around, let's just say if it's a dice game or something going on, just people terminology and the way they speak, that ramp word gotta be being said, unless, people just, be mindful and be respectful and it don't slip. But other than that, I can't come out on record and say that them people neighborhood lovers, because that's just like them can come out and say that, hey, y'all blood lovers, or you know, y'all this lovers, you know what I'm saying? You know, I just feel that they, you know, they deal with Crips, but in that county jail, it don't be feeling good when you run into these dudes and these dudes supposed to be gangsters and they with the neighborhoods and you looking like, damn, like, what's up? And they looking at you like, shit, what's up? Like, you with the Hoovers and Bloods, I'm over here with the Crips. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think that was a good topic that was brought up by Kev. Conclude that right there. It's your boy Young and Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead, like, and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing to press that.
Well, nigga, what thing you doing? What you call y'all doing?
My song.
Kool-Aid? You got a new one?
Yeah. I got some shit.
You ain't got, nigga. You ain't got
Some shit, kid.
Nigga, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got no shit. Yeah.
Nobody know.
He used to be boo-boo. He hard now. You ain't heard Cuz. You ain't heard Cuz shit.
On Crip, I did.
His new shit? You let Cuz hear?
No.
You ain't heard, nigga. You ain't heard, nigga. No.
Damn,
No.
man.
You ain't heard it.
But I sent you something. But what I have what you sent me.
We gonna listen to it. We gonna listen to it. We go look. Can you do it right now?
I didn't post a video.
We can do it right now. We can do it right now. We can go sit in the car right now. Cuz can hear that shit come. Avalon, he gonna want to get on it. I'll get off of it so he can get on it.
Fuck that. Hey, where beef for Avalon, beef for us.
Period. 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 That's the A trade say. Where beef with the A's at period.
And we just inherited this trader beef.
That's the seal.
Fuck that. Fuck trader. Yeah. Fuck traders, cuz. That's what they is. Avalon Gangsta. Hey. Yeah. Third game. Yeah, third game. Yeah, them niggas bullshit. We been telling y'all they bullshit, bro. We been saying that. Avalon. Nigga ain't making it up.
Fuck traders, nigga. Fuck traders. Hey, fuck traders.
Fuck all enemies, nigga. Nigga, fuck all enemies, nigga.
From the back, they came with choppers to blaze. You was balling on the court, scoring, giving assists. Catch you on the rebound, you end up on that list. TMI with TMI, gotta tell your story. Let them know how it go, how it's paying with the glory. Where you from? Look both ways before you cross me. Streets is talking. Look both ways before you cross me. Streets is talking. TMI with TMI. Look both ways before you cross me. Streets is talking. TMI with TMI. Look both ways before you cross me. Streets is talking. TMI with TMI. Look both ways before you cross me. Streets is talking. TMI with TMI.